are we playing a game? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to
Jesus Christ.
Advantage in Paradise. We are still children at heart. So, welcome. Let's jump into our children in your heart. All right, what?
Get DMCA.
Oh, no. Well, we had a good run. Anyway, folks. It's time for Advantage in Paradise. Let's jump into our recap. Last we met on the first evening of Arwood Gloam, the Bitter Shadow on a Stir's Dog. The Wayward Five defeated the aspect of the Pallid King, leeching power from the artifact weapon known as the Prongs of the Black. Side note, an underground oracle product. Now known, this Prongs of the Black is now known to hold a larval Scathefulum, a parasitic shapeshifter from the Shadowfell. Both the Scathefulum and the Pallid King have haunted the steps of our heroes since their first ventures. And since the early aughts, the Pallid King has whispered into the minds of the people of Gwenvalir. But long has that threat laid dormant for our heroes. Until now, they've seemingly faced the monstrosity itself. But alas, through its mocking jabs and twisting visions, our heroes triumphed to see another day. But before that day could come, the Wayward Five were beset with conflict again. Scarlet's anxiety and panic only grew as she feared the beguiling plague that is the Cirrus of the Crimson Court. Curon meditated upon the growing threat of the Pallid King and what could be done to cure Scarlet of this suffering. Wiswick numbed the painful experiences of late with alcohol and asks Curon to cast Sending Plus to his sister Frizri, begging her to go home and stop seeking him out, since he saw the horrific visions of her death from the Pallid King. Sarathil, ever curious about the sins of his time and its effects on this new world, visited the three adventurers Raphael sent to the Chromatis hinterlands. These mercenaries suffered from ley poisoning as the remnant decaying magical energies of the hinterlands ravaged their biology. But with the help of his new companions and the quick response from Governor Oriel Clay, this sickness did not spread from the tavern, though two souls weren't so lucky. But our heroes saved many lives tonight. Oriel has promised an audience with the Duke of Endurus, Swain Lithonius, and eventually with the Senate of the Gwyn Empire. The leaders of the world need counsel as underneath their wars and politics rumbles the threat of the Pallid One. This ley poisoning threat may have been resolved, but the realm of Carcery still bears down upon the material plane. And the machinations of the Harbinger may yet start bleeding through to your realm. Vile foes and wicked actors encircle our champions as the threats to their world tighten. The time has come to regroup, plan, perhaps call forth their allies. But where we left off was our heroes retreating back to Governor Clay's manor to rest after the hard work of making Vermalcia a little bit brighter and a little bit safer. And this is where we're going to begin. So, you have resolved and saved the folk at the tavern of any sickness that may be befalling them. Though they do have some recovery time left, they will not know an early death. Governor Clay's guards and the Graces stay behind to monitor the situation, check on these sick until they are fully recovered, allowing you to get some much-deserved rest as you return to the manor. Is there anything anyone would like to do on this day? You will have, as I said last week, a week of downtime now to relax, do a few things, get some errands done, or communicate with those you need to talk to, perform any rituals or whatnot. But by the end of this week in the game, you will have a meeting with the Duke of Endurus to, in essence, state your case. give the warning and ask for help. But for now, what would you like to do? I imagine you all want to rest tonight. I don't imagine there's much that's going to happen.
Yeah, correct. Sarathil is on the verge of undeath with his 2 points of exhaustion.
Timber goes back into the library and instead throws his sending bracelet to the ground, like, don't wake me up again.
Silencing his phone.
Wiswick, who was flying around on a magic carpet last session, decides to, stay up maybe a little. Like he keeps riding until he starts feeling the wounds from the injury. He didn't get hurt too badly, but he gets tired at some point. But he really has taken a liking to the thing. He doesn't have any talent in doing airborne vehicles, but he does have talent in driving land vehicles. So perhaps this is just like the same thing for him. Like he's sort of like enjoying being a pilot, and he's like maybe testing some things out.
I'd imagine Wiswick's being
flip or something if he's cool.
a little reckless with this, given he's also probably not quite sobered up. Suddenly, Wiswick sees some red and blue lights behind him.
Oh no!
I pull over. I'm a responsible driver.
No, Wiswick, you can definitely stay out and test out the magic carpet, we'll say, for a little bit.
Okay, wonderful.
I would, once we get back, I imagine I'm coming to the tail end of what we so lovingly dubbed as anesthetizing with evil. So I am feeling pretty drained and broody, so I'm just gonna go right to my room and maybe not right. I won't go to bed right away, but I think what I'll do is I'll maybe spend just some time like letting the last of it wear off, and I'll like just like gently throwing a dagger from wall to wall and just like pacing across the room to get it, to then throw it across the other side and just do that for a while.
Huron, are you just meditating for the evening?
Yes, Huron is going to take a long rest.
Excellent. Perfect. All right, so you all find, like I said last time, the Governor Clay has put in efforts to actually have the manor be stocked and staffed, so when you return, it's not this dark, empty shell that's cold. It has roaring fires in your rooms, meals ready, servants, workers who are tidying up the place, cleaning up, securing the grounds. You would also notice a few more guards, not quite a lot yet. The Gwyn reinforcements are still probably a week out from coming to the city to help reinforce it. But a pleasant experience with your choice of evening drink between... There's no wine left. Wiswick drank or accidentally spilled the rest of the wine. Or it's all in his room. Who knows? But no. There's some wine, there's some hot drinks, some tea, some cocoa, whatever you need to find a relaxing evening. Hot baths can be drawn for those who need their muscles eased in the warm waters. And you rest. So, the next day, first day of your downtime, what would you like to do? Don't have to do anything on the first day. You can rest further. But
I will say, real quick, I think, Kieran wants to confer with Oriel about his employee that may or may not be responsible for the theft of the prongs from Cal. I don't really have to role play it. I don't, Kieran's going to be the bad cop. They're breaking the law. But I just want to make sure that that's resolved and that, they go to jail.
Okay, so, that's actually quite easy enough to do on the first day. So I'd say on that next day, like, because this is something that Oriel could more easily do than a lot of the other quests, you would find at some point on the first day, Oriel would come to you. He'd drop a big old ledger in front of you and open it up to the logs for who was working during these last 3 weeks. And you would find out that in the commotion and the rumors and the murders of the last 2 weeks, there is an employee who all signs point to their thievery, because of all the employees, they are the ones who are gone and have not shown up for work.
Mm.
And Oriel would kind of come to you and we don't have the resources to chase after this individual.
No, but could you give me a brief description of them? Maybe make me lightly, what's the word I'm looking for, to hit the threshold for casting ascending to them, to abscond them for their transgression.
And Oriel would then, like, because you'd see Oriel's been stressed, and you haven't really seen him be that kind of carefree and somewhat humorous version that you met way back when. But as you say this, he does give a sly smirk, and he would give you a pretty significant, like a pretty detailed description of this person, including like a bit about them, because Oriel, when he first came to Vermalcia, he got to know his staff.
Sure.
And I'd say that you would have the information that is necessary to cast Ascending to Gabriel Schofield.
Schofield?
Yes, he's probably a man in his late 20s. You find out that he was born to some merchants in the Blythe. And through some connections with his merchant father, was able to get a job in the upper part of the city, and he's sort of been what Oriel heard is that he's kind of been traded around by the nobles to be like, this kid has a father who's kind of in the know, and so we don't really want to just like fire him and kick him out to the streets. So we're just gonna kind of like be like, oh well, you kind of sucked in this office, so we're gonna transfer you to the other office. But you do have this information.
Just trying to write out a nice little. Okay. So Kieran will cast Sending, and he'll say it out loud, so Oriel has the pleasure of hearing it. And he goes, Now listen here, Gabriel Schofield. Stealing is never right, but stealing from a near-death individual is a crime that Zendariel herself will personally punish you for. By this I swear. I think that's 25.
Yeah, say you're good.
He doesn't sign off or anything. And then, you know what, maybe he sends a follow-up where he goes, also, in this time he just is going to use Ascending Plus, because he's like, you know what, this kid's gotta hear about it. And he just goes off.
Say like he would be like about to, you would like hear the words of the kid being like, who is, and then you just go into the Ascending Plus.
Right. And another thing, it was a cursed object. You unleashed. You would be like, you're responsible for the deaths of all these individuals. You know, the crimes you've committed will see you jailed for generations, and then your soul will be condemned to the hells, etc., etc. And at this point, he's like walking back and forth, and he like looks at Oriel a few times, like, anything, Dad?
Tell him his father will be very disappointed in him.
And your father will be very, very disappointed. So if you seek to rectify this, turn yourself into the city guard, and we shall discuss further whatevers.
Well, I'll say I have not seen the retributive side of you, at least not when it comes to criminals. But
Well, this is a little easier than dealing with interplanar aberrations or chained gods. It's much more straightforward. You break the law, you pay the price. Remember that, kids, he says, looking to the camera.
Wiswick's in the background, just like going like this on the.
Oriel, I'll say this kind of like happens over like breakfast, and Oriel kind of like puts his coffee down because I have a mug in my hands. All right, well, I may not be able to spend a lot of time with you all this week before the meeting, but I'll ensure that I at least get to sit with you once before to discuss what you want to go over. I will arrange it. It shouldn't be too difficult, especially after the service you've done to the city. But prepare yourselves. Swain has seen much of the conflicts in the Quintarchy. He's a wise and aged statesman. But of the kings of the Quintarchy and queens, if there's anyone I think who will listen truly, it's him. If there's anything you need during this week, do not hesitate to reach out. I will mostly be up in the keep where the Duke's residence is, but I will attempt to come down and sup with you and speak on any matters you wish.
Thank you, Governor. I'm sure we can manage ourselves, but we'll let you know if we need anything.
Yes. Get some much-needed rest. And he will
You
go
too.
about his day. And all right. Everyone else wakes up, because I imagine that was quite early, because both of you wake up tremendously early. I would say
Right.
maybe Sarathil. This is the one night Sarathil sleeps a little late because of how exhausted he is.
Oh, absolutely.
But day one. Is there anything anyone would like to do on the first day, or would you like to rest? If you
Moonblessed, what are we doing today?
Well, I thought we could start some research into helping out Scarlet here.
That looks like a good idea.
Right. I think we should start big and work our way down towards whatever the entity that exists within her nape. I had thought to do a spell, you know the one, Legend Lore, on the Scathfield themselves to see what exactly Iluvania can enlighten me upon. From there, if one of our esteemed wizards, Kieran says looking between Wiswick and Sarathil, could potentially identify both the parasite in Scarlet's neck, but also the prongs of the black. I know that we had identified it many moons ago. Wiswick, I believe you did that. I'm actually not sure if we actually identified it.
I believe I did when we
Okay.
first met.
Well, given how much stronger your connection to the Wheels of Magic is now, maybe you can get that really high Arcana check to get a cool cutscene.
Well, it's worth a shot. I mean, it has been a while since we saw it, and I mean, I guess we could use a refresher. It definitely did some things that I wasn't aware of the last time, like in that destroyed building. So maybe there's more to it. I'll give
Maybe
it a
it
shot.
gained more power from all the deaths Cal caused with it. A concerned look crosses Kieran's face.
Maybe
I'm
it's
still in
just
my room, guys, just so you know. I'm not with you right now.
Maybe because it's alive, it grows like we do, and it is just getting bigger.
I may add, there is a unique feature that I felt when we were at the house in the basement. When I cast a spell on it, it felt like it was feeding off of it. Like it took some of the energy that I had onto it. Maybe it was learning it, maybe it was feeding it, but it has definitely connection to this Pallid King who we encountered.
Right.
Interesting. Was that the prongs that did that, or was that the
Yes.
paladin?
To specify, in the basement when I cast telepathy on the sword itself to try to pull it. Well, you weren't there. That's right. I apologize.
Well, one thing I would note real quick, though, Sarathil, is that when you were in the basement chamber, the illusory one, and fighting the Pallid King or talking with him,
Yes.
you had the Arcana sense to understand that the Pallid puppet that he was manifesting through was actually the one who rebounded that spell upon you and started using telekinesis as if it had learned it from you. So it wasn't the prongs to the black; it was actually the Pallid King who had.
Well, I thought it was both. I thought it was a combination. When I originally cast it on the sword, you felt like there was some sort of like connection, or like I didn't know at the time that it was absorbed by him, but
True.
Like it was like taking something away from my magic that was being forced onto it.
That is right. That is true.
So I'll make that connection in front of you guys. That it seemed like any spell cast on both, honestly, the swords and the Pallid King's manifestation, he now knows.
I'm not too worried about this sword learning how to identify my magic items, so it's a pretty harmless spell. I think we can give it a shot.
That's not...
Kieran gives a knowing look to Sarathil, like, yeah, I got you, buddy. Sorry.
Excellent. Okay. So
I cast Identify on the prongs of the black.
Okay. Timber and Kieran, I imagine you take it out of the bag of holding and unwrap it. You see, as they place the cloth down holding it, the cracks in the blade, you can see the ooze, like the black ooze is sort of bleeding out of it, and much like Scarlet's dagger, is reaching out towards currently Timber. And as you approach it, Wiswick, to begin the ritual for the spell, placing the reagents down, you see the sword splits open as if the whip-like feature was used. You can see the ooze become sort of a snake-like tendril with the jagged shards of the sword embedded in it, and it just sort of, the head of it is just sort of looking at you like a snake.
Hello? Do you understand me?
It nods.
Oh, this is
Oh.
cool, guys. Check this out. Where are you from?
Didn't try talking to it. Ooh.
Doesn't say anything.
All right.
No,
you
if
get to play 20
capable of-
questions. 20 questions. Was
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Bob your head
Is it-
yes for yes and no for no, okay?
Is it bigger than a bread box?
It turns. You see the big.
The next 20 minutes.
I know, right? The point of the sword kind of is the head, and it just turns its head confused at is it bigger than a bread box?
I'm trying to learn more about you. Is it all right if I cast a spell so I can identify what you can do?
It
I
nods.
proceed.
Okay. You see, as you go forward to complete the ritual, it does back into the blade. Before I give you the basics, go ahead and give me an Arcana check.
Ooh. It's a new day, so I have luck slots just in case.
Huron gives him a little slap on the back to give him guidance.
Ooh, very good. I'm glad I didn't roll fast. Where is this guy? I'll take a 7 plus 15 is 22. I think I'll stay with that. What is the guidance? Plus 4?
Yes.
A D4.
D4.
I got a 4, so it's gonna be 26.
Good thing you needed that guidance.
Ooh.
You
So sure.
The spell you would see on Wiswick's hands, kind of the familiar sight of the ritual for identify as sort of strings come off of his fingers and go to the pearl that is the identify reagent, and you can see he is manipulating and seeing the history of this blade. The first thing you see, Wiswick, is some planar world far away from here. There's it looks an awful lot like the Feywild, perhaps. And you can see Morians in their pure Titan form before their disfigurement and destruction, fighting. You can see there's a cohort of them, these giants with purple skin, fighting in a glade where there is this massive rock that has embedded in the ground, landed in the ground, and created a crater. And emanating from this rock is just this slow, creeping blight. It reminds you somewhat of the strange quantum entanglement that the key created beneath the drift march when you saw the hellhounds. And you can see it's expanded to the entire crater, and you see these Fomorians are on the edge of the crater getting ready to jump in. And you can see amongst the blight where it's sort of this mixture of dead barren earth with dead plant life that has been scorched. Everything either a shade of gray or a dull shade of red. And you would see sort of pooling in several recesses is this black ooze with red veins of light through it. In some places, this ooze has gathered itself up and is pulling itself, much like the oozes you saw in the, or not, you didn't see them, but much like the oozes everyone else saw in the house. And you can see these Fomorians are just going and just absolutely destroying these oozes. They go down and they just cut right through them. And the Fomorians feel as though they're suddenly achieving some victory, and they're closing in on the meteorite that has created this. And in that moment, you can kind of see a pool of this ooze has gathered around the meteorite, and you can see it bubbles up into a much larger form. And you can sort of see it starting to manifest as essentially a Scaithfuel. You can see it, the ooze forms a humanoid form, and you can see that tall neck that they have with the pale skin that comes up, the black eyes and the fangs, and long unnatural arms with the long unnatural fingers as it just sort of is coming into its own. And you're essentially seeing an infection point of the Shadowfell, where it begins to infect a plane of existence. And what you're noticing on the ground, what you're really being shown, is the growth and life stages of Scaithfuel. In the way that these oozes form, and they kill. Whatever they kill, they absorb. And it slowly creates a hive mind that creates a Scaithfuel identity. And what you're seeing is one forming out of a collective ooze, But you're also seeing that young Scathulum, larval Scathulum, are quite easily killed in their larval states as these Fomorians cut through them. But this is just the first vision you see, which is just sort of an expression of the life form that's within the blade. The next vision you would see, though, is sort of a mix of what you can best guess is the ooze's memories. The ooze within the prongs of the black. They're just quick flashes and visions in pain. As you kind of see, like, splayed out in front of you is the ooze that is the prongs of the black. And you can see it's almost like stretched out across like several what look like plinths of wood that are just like sort of holding it and spreading it across and almost ripping it, pulling it as far as it can without ripping it apart. And you just feel the pain of it. And then suddenly, sort of visually, you see all of the metal of the prongs of the black binding around it and slowly forming it together, as you can see these sort of spectral hands manipulating the whole thing and squeezing it down together. And then you hear a laugh as this is happening that sounds a lot like the mocking laugh of the pallid manifestation, the pallid aspect. And then suddenly you see it just sort of, the sword appears, like this vision of the sword appears to you, and then suddenly it seems to almost be floating in space or the astral sea. And then it just sharply, like a comet, flings down. And then the next thing you see is it cratered into the earth in the material plane, as if it was been jettisoned through planes of existence to arrive in the material plane. And with that 26, the last thing you would see is this cratered, not quite as big as the crater you saw in the first vision, but just the sword in the earth sticking, steaming hot. Little tendrils of ooze peeling through the cracks in the blade. And then walking up, it's probably in the middle of a farm. The crickets are chirping. It's probably in, one might say, Tressex. And then you see hobbling forward a stranger in yellow, and then reaches out and takes the sword.
Very interesting.
Well, that was interesting. It seems like I learned a lot from that one. You ready for notes, Kieran?
Oh, I'm always ready, he says, taking out his journal and leafing through some pages, finding one that's like half written on. He just, draws a line across it.
Well, I'll give you the details in a little bit, but just for everyone, it seems like these Scathulum are creatures that are created with Shadowfell magic as devourers, and they're kind of bred for, I don't even know if it's breeding, but they're sent to other dimensions in attempts to corrupt, and as they absorb energy from these other worlds, they use it to create their own consciousness. And apparently the sword was created as a sort of tool to perhaps use the Scathulum, like a weaker Scathulum that hasn't absorbed too much energy, to, harness their power at a younger age for someone to use as a tool or a weapon. And the Pallid King is the person who created this guy. I don't know if that means that he's inherently evil. I mean, there's a lot of things that say it is, but I mean, maybe in the right hands it could do some good. We've seen it be, useful to us in the past. I don't know if it holds grudges. Hey, Snake, Snake Guy, do you hold a grudge? Yeah, okay. Is it against us?
Shakes.
Hey? Sure. Yeah, he said no.
Is it
by
against
the way,
the Pallid King?
You would hear like sort of a low screeching noise coming from the ooze at this, and you see the ooze almost like vibrate like a ferrous liquid as it then goes back into its blade form.
I had more questions.
If you whisper that, it would sort of slowly.
Well, then he would just go, are there others that feel the same as you?
You see it kind of twists its head back and forth like this, sort of a not sure. Ask again later.
you want to get out of that
Gone.
sword?
Parasite.
Oh,
Dang it.
Oh, sorry. If you had more questions, you can ask. It seems
Just
like
one.
it's very happy to comply.
Snake Buddy, do you want to get out of that sword?
It's not sure.
All right, well, think about it. We shouldn't let him out of that sword.
No, I think it's best it remains in there for the time being, at least.
Okay, great.
Well, if one of you two wants to do the next step, we need to identify the parasite, the aberration that resides in the back of Scarlet's neck. I also need to cast my spell to get more information on the Scathium, see if we can gather more information to fully understand what we're tackling.
You've all assisted me yesterday evening with containing the sickness that affected town. I'd be happy to help assisting your friend.
Thank you.
I don't know.
Go get some numbing agents for Scarlet, just in case
That's a good
what you
idea.
plan to do is painful for her. What do you plan
It's
on
a simple
doing?
identification spell. Why would it need to?
Well, I mean,
I'm not-
if the next goal is to extract it, or I don't know, what do you think?
Well, let's first see what we're dealing with. I'm not going to
I
try to rip
agree.
anything off of something that I'm not familiar with.
Oh no, okay.
Timber's kind of like, damn, I want to do brains.
I'll go to the library and read.
Wiswick's on standby. He's gonna be watching how this goes down, and just in case, whatever this parasite is gonna try and jump ship or something along those lines. When he gets touched or identified, Wiswick wants to be there and ready to, either like push it away with a telekinesis or bubble it up with or banish it would be probably the best solution if he could get a chance to. If it jumps off of Scarlet at any moment, he'll be ready to get rid of it for sure.
Cool. All right, so the three of you go and find Scarlet in her room.
I don't actually go to the library. I join them.
Oh, you're gonna come with? Okay.
Yeah, no, it's just me.
So the whole team goes. This feels a lot like an intervention.
Yeah.
Scarlet, sit down.
We're here to talk about your demons.
Literally.
Unfolds a piece of paper.
Literally and
Scarlet, I've
figuratively.
known you for.
Okay, so you knock on Scarlet's door.
You would hear the rhythmic thunk of the daggers. She's resumed her pacing back and forth of just throwing the dagger against the wall. The door's unlocked.
Aaron pushes it open a smidge and pokes his head in and goes, Scarlet, it's the rest of us. May we enter?
Yes, come in.
Kieran opens the door and gestures for the others to enter, and then closes the door behind him. And he'll go, so we've been discussing how we should spend our time while we wait to meet with the Duke, and we thought it would be an excellent time to tackle what ails you currently. Kieran says, pointing to the back of his neck, implying the back of her neck, implying the, parasite, living armor thing. Doesn't exactly say it. And then he goes, but first we'd like to get a little more information. Wiswick re-identified the prongs of the black, and we learned a little more about its creation. It seems to have been imprisoned within the sword by the Pallid King. And doesn't exactly see the Pallid King in the best of lights. Now, if you'll allow us, I thought we might identify the living armor that exists within you, planted by the Cirrus. And then from there, I will cast some legend lores to understand the Scathium a little better. And from there, we can make a plan on how to proceed.
Sounds like an awful lot of work and expended energy.
Good thing we have an awful amount of time.
Easy. And nothing easy ever came from a little amount of work. Wait, nope. Nothing
I know what you mean.
Thank you.
I'm sure. You sure you don't have anything more important to do? To be spending your energies on?
Well, we need to get you better so that we can go get a drink later, so...
Yeah, I
Or at
wouldn't
least
want to
help.
have a weird creature on my neck. It seems like it's probably a good idea to at least, figure it out what it is.
Seems like we have some more pressing matters.
I don't know about that. I think we're all in agreement that we should take a look into this. I mean, if you don't want us to, that's the end of the story, but it seems like something you'd want to know too, right?
We see how it affects you, Scarlet. We'd rather you feel better, if nothing else.
One final chuck of the dagger, and it embeds itself into the wall, and I don't go and get it. What do you need me to do?
Well, if you would allow me, I know we are still new to each other. I've agreed to help, seeing as how you assisted me the other night. I'd like to see if I can identify what it is protruding from your neck.
Right. Is there a chair or something?
So it's like, yeah, I'll gesture for her to sit, and ask her to pull down like the back of her nape of her neck so I could see what's there.
Yeah. I'll move the short hair aside.
Now just relax, and I know this is connected to you, so let me know if anything happens during this process, as I'll go in and cast Identify on focusing on the parasite.
Excellent. Give me a Arcana check.
Huron goes, hey, but buddy, take a little guidance from Millie Vaughn.
And I
So,
can help, maybe.
Plus D4?
Yeah.
Yeah, plus a d4.
Not that you
And
need
if
it,
Wiswick,
though.
if you want to burn a spell slot, I'll allow you to help him and give him advantage.
Oh, okay.
Like burn the whatever Identify is as a spell slot.
First level, yeah. You got it.
Okay, so I have advantage?
Yep.
Okay, good.
That look.
Going a second time? Oh my gosh! Ooh, alright. I'm still exhausted, apparently.
Oh, why am I not doing this?
So that's gonna be a 16.
Okay.
Woof.
Okay.
Yeah, that was with a 1 and a 3.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Yeah.
All right. So with the 16, though, I mean that's not that bad. So baseline, just sort of magical properties. This is something that has, generally speaking, an aura of what you already know: the dagger, the armor, the hammer, and it's very clear that this is of the same material creature. It is bonded to Scarlet's brainstem, essentially. Removal of it would be incredibly difficult and very dangerous, especially through physical means. Physical means it's quarter centimeter nick in the wrong direction, and Scarlet suffers brain damage. It is clear that this is intentional. And it's not like the creature is sort of just there. It is literally latched on. And you can see, because at the very least with the spell, like you get almost a visual scan of it that you can see where it's larger than you'd think. It's probably around 3 or 4 inches long, larval creature, and with these long legs, like centipede legs, that are literally wrapped around the brainstem. I'd say you get a vague vision of its creation. It's sort of a faded visual, almost like you're coming in and out of consciousness while you're seeing it. It's a room bathed in a warm, light red light that seems to emanate from nowhere. 4 pillars lead up to the ceiling where you can see this membrane is joined between them all. And you can see a humanoid form descending through that membrane, much like the Scathulum looked last session. And how Scarlet described this to you, actually. So you presume this may be Scarlet. The last thing you see is Scarlet huddled in damp rags, covered in blood, as if being born, in the arms, held, almost cradled, by a ghastly-looking woman. Tall, elongated, skin paler than the moon, eyes black with red pupils, neck far too long, far too skinny, fangs, as she's just stroking Scarlet's hair and just cradling her. This is the Cirrus. The purpose of the item is twofold. It's an extension of the Cirrus's power, and it's a failsafe.
Failsafe.
In the sense, if Scarlet were to become somehow too freed from the Cirrus's influence, she can end Scarlet's life in an instant. Currently, the connection, as you identified a couple days ago, is severed, but regrowing.
Connection between the dagger and this parasite?
Yes, or between the parasite and its host, or not host. Sorry, its creator, the Cirrus.
I see. Is there something that caused that I'm forgetting for a second here?
Just the severing, just the when you
just us breaking it, just freeing her in general.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have anything to do with the non-detection I casted on her?
No. It may be helping, maybe slowing the regeneration of the connection, but it's very clearly a piece of the Cirrus. It's not some distinct creature that she breeds to put in her assassins' necks. It is an external piece of her.
I'll kind of like pop out of it. And whatever I was doing with it, I'm being very delicate, not to disrupt it as much as I can. And I'll die, and this magic is much stronger than I would anticipate. It seems the creature that's bestowed this upon you is an extension of itself. It has its control over you, uses this, and removing it would be quite cumbersome. I've certainly.
Okay, sorry.
No, I certainly do not feel comfortable doing or trying it. Even one little slip up can result in either paralysis or worse.
That's exactly how she intended it. Did I feel anything when he was doing magic-y things?
Surprisingly, no.
How did we sever the connection last time to her?
I dispelled the magic, and I think I rolled a nat 20.
Yes. So the connection with her is severed now. But it's slowly coming back.
Like I said, it's going to take an enormous amount of effort to remove it, so might as well just focus your energy somewhere else.
Sorry.
It's not your
Well,
If we can keep severing it, then it's not a problem, right? At least we can delay until we figure out how to completely remove it. Unless you have another idea, Kieran.
less of an idea and just a passing thought.
This isn't something she can live with forever, though.
Right, but we can at least
No.
delay it. We know how to delay it by severing it. So
Yes.
just buy time. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we can try and buy time, but I mean, if this thing truly is a part of the enemy, then at some point, if Scarlet isn't useful to them, like, they can just get rid of her whenever they want. So
I
He
guess
is
wick.
start
Yeah.
throwing the dagger again.
He is.
As a
He is
little mage
correct.
hand at the back of the head.
I mean, shouldn't we, find out what she needs to do? So maybe if we keep her severed, they'd be happy if we do what they want us to do?
I
He
know what
is-
I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to kill all of you.
Okay, that's not gonna work. Maybe we could fake our deaths?
No.
No, Wiswick,
No.
this is the exact
That's-
wrong direction. If I may.
Wiswick's first point
Yep.
was right, though. We can't just sit here and continue to sever the connection between her and the Sears. We don't.
I
Time is
agree.
of the essence, because the moment that she seems her not to be useful anymore.
Well, we've done it before, and Kieran looks to Kaze. And who's to say we can't do it again? Where we take what the enemy gives us and use it against them.
Do you want to use the sword?
It had an interesting effect, if you recall, on Scarlet's living armor when she held it. The armor seemed to react negatively and back off. I don't know if it's entirely possible. My initial thought had been that this was another larval Scaphelum, but if it's in a direct extension of the Cirrus, it's still not as powerful as the Cirrus herself. If you're willing, Scarlet, and of course you'll have our help the entire way, it may be possible to use the prongs of the black and, in a way, take control of the parasite within you. I'm not saying it's sure to happen. This is simply one of my theories.
It was interesting how the prongs of the black was when you held it, didn't it react how it reacted to this creature inside of you. Maybe, I mean, that sounds like an option, but do we really think that whatever's inside of our little snake friend can beat out whatever is controlling Scarlet? Like, I don't know much about how this works, and I don't think anybody really does. But maybe we want to, that seems like a last-ditch effort to me.
Well, to Kieran's point, it's easier to contest two opponents that are against each other rather than having to fight one full head-on. So.
And I believe, since it exists within Scarlet herself, she may be able to exert some kind of will. The same way that the Cirrus enforces her will on Scarlet, maybe Scarlet can show her a little bit of that raging rogue within her.
Where is the sword right now?
It's right here.
I hold my hand out for it. I'm sick of other people controlling my mind. I'm sick of other people trying to figure out my problems. Let me see it.
Oh, also you can talk to the sword too. Sorry.
And then Kieran is gonna quickly, before she grabs it, give everyone a little motivational speech. And he'll go. Wait. Oh, there it is. Okay. It does take a minute to cast, so I imagine I have to talk for a minute, and you all now listen to me talk for a minute. Or about
the timer going.
Sean, while he's
I'm just kidding.
Sean, while he's talking, just a quick interjection, just so I can recall. Escape Fuel, is this something that would be new to me, or is like their existence commonly known across? I mean, I guess not commonly known, but would academics or scholars or people who study magic hear or know any stories of them?
I would say, actually, interestingly enough, give me a quick history check. Because, I mean, your timeline, where you're from, is after the fall of the end of the Morseer conflict.
Yes. 20. Dirty 20.
Okay. I'd say you might know a little bit about them. Because of your research into necromancy, often that research can sometimes enter into discussions of the conceptual realm of the Shadowfell. So I'd say you at the very least know that the Shadowfell is not a plane unto itself, but a parasitic manifestation that seeks to latch on to other planes of existence and just sort of absorb them, convert them into itself.
And that's fair. So what I actually was trying to get at is that not necessarily if Sarathil knows any more about them, but if he knows that some knowledge is known.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and give us that minute pep talk there, Kieran.
Oh no.
I gave you a little breathing room to think of something.
Thanks. I had something a little thought up, and the current mode that I'm giving it doesn't matter. Anyways, Kieran steels himself and he turns to Scarlet and puts a hand on her and he goes, Scarlet, remember, fear is the mind killer. and doubt is the heart render. But through strength of will, we can overcome anything. I need you to remember who you are, not who you think you are. You're Rowan. You're strong, courageous, always eager to help, even if it means throwing your life in danger's way. The Sirius has manipulated you, turned you against your friends, your family, and now it's time to take that power back. I know you have it within you. Ilyuvanya knows you have it within you to fight back. He gestures to the sword. Use the prongs. Use it to conquer your fears and your doubts. And with it, you shall emerge stronger than you ever thought possible.
So, Scarlet.
Wiswick's cheering in the background.
Isaiah is holding the prongs of the blackout to you.
I reach out my hand for Kieran's hand first.
He grips it. He goes, may the light of the crescent heart guide you. Guidance.
Thank you. And then I'll take the sword.
So as Scarlet reaches for the sword, as Rowan reaches for the sword, you can see, all of you, the hilt of the blade. You can see this Scathulum's tendrils reaching out towards her hand as she reaches out towards it. And it almost in a way that it looks like the Scathulum is taking her hand as well. And she takes it, and there's an immediate, much like you saw, Timber, when you first grabbed the sword, it looks as though this inky water is going up her arm. Scarlet, it is painful at first. It's almost a gesture to you, this pain of, do you accept?
I just nod.
As you take it, just give me a quick Constitution saving throw with advantage.
Like, it needs to be wisdom.
It could be. Does it give it advantage on wisdom checks?
Yeah. That's
Well,
okay.
it is, I mean, in essence, I'm giving her advantage because of your speech.
Oh, okay.
Do you
Never
give
mind,
me
never mind.
guidance too?
Yeah,
Yeah, you have
D4.
guidance also.
So 18.
Scarlet, you feel the presence of this creature in the blade. And you feel all of it. You feel its fears. You feel its mind. You feel its, weirdly enough, hopes. And you feel almost like a fusion happening. You can see this scared little creature is inside this blade. Although its origin is parasitic, evil, corrupt, it's just scared. And it has this admiration for you, for Curon, for Timber, for Wiswick. You can feel that. Well, you weren't there, Sarathil. It's like, who's this new guy?
I know.
I don't like it. You can feel also like a vestige of Cal in it. And his bravery. And it steals you. And though it has not dislodged this creature from your neck, you feel more confident. You feel more in control of yourself than you've ever felt in your life. And you see the blade erupt out. As you can see, the ooze that makes up the prongs of the black. Between the shrapnel that is the blade, you suddenly see a fire rip through it. Much like your erupted flesh ability. And then it goes back to a sword. And what was dormant prongs of the black is now awakened.
Boy.
You do have an artifact item.
You're welcome.
Mint.
His element.
So seeing this happen, Kieran like stands back and then seeing the blade retract again, he's like, I guess still holding her hand and goes, Scarlet, are you okay?
For the first time in a very long time. I know who I am.
5 and 9, and he raises her hand and does he leaves his staff standing there and like does a little hug with her, puts her down,
Oh,
and goes,
right when Kieran gives a hug, Timber goes in for a hug too, like around him.
Wismic summons the snake friend from the chain bracelet of the depths and is just like dancing around with it.
Wiswick, get in here. Sarathil, you too.
Sarathil's just kind of sitting there, just nodding with a smirk.
I obviously go in for the hug.
So, as you embrace one another wayward 5, in a joyous renewal, the fight's not over, but good victory today. We move on into the rest of the week. Day 2 has arrived.
Ooh.
Is this the Majora's Mask thing that you just
Oh,
didn't
no,
tell us
it's
about? Everything
it's-
going
No,
downhill.
you think it's on to the second day. Come on.
do. Wait, yeah.
Ooh, don't.
So,
I would like to find Kieran
yes,
on his own, if I can,
definitely.
the next day. Maybe I
You know where to find him.
Sanctuary. Yeah. So I think after all of that happened yesterday, I would have finally taken a bath because she hadn't been in a very long time. So I think she would finally she had her hair up in this really messy tight bun, and she'd finally let it down and let it air dry, and it kind of foofs a little bit. And finally found like a clean robe or tunic or something to wear, so it's not the gross stuff she was wearing before, or I was wearing before. And then I would just, with my head held a little higher than it has been, I would go find Kieran in the sanctuary.
Real quick, the night so after we figure this out and we all break apart, I think Kieran would try to dispel the magics affecting both her hammer and the dagger.
Ooh, excellent. I would say, are you going to use Dispel Magic on both?
I'm sorry?
You're going to use Dispel Magic on both of them?
Yes, starting with
Okay.
the hammer, because he thinks it's easier.
Smart.
And maybe a little more symbolic to cleanse that first, then we'll do the dagger.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a check for your Dispel Magic. Or actually, what level are you going to cast it at?
I have a 7th level. You know what? He's gonna cast. He didn't legend. So he'll do 5th level on the hammer.
Okay.
See if that works.
Go ahead and give me a roll for it.
Okay. Oh no, it's so laggy on my computer.
Oh, the D&D Beyond.
Yeah. Is there a way
You
I
don't have
can-
dice, do you?
So
Can you wanna
what
roll
you're gonna
from?
want to do, which
I'll
you're
do
actually
that.
gonna, yeah. So while they're doing that during the break, Stefan, I'll tell you how to
Yeah.
maybe help that out a little bit.
Oh, it's so slow.
What are we rolling?
It's I guess you could just roll an intelligence check since your modifiers
No,
will be the same.
I have his sheet up.
Oh, wisdom check. Straight
Wisdom
wisdom.
saving throw? Okay.
Nope, just straight wisdom.
Okay, +2. We got a 16 +2, 18.
What?
You only-
No.
no, you
Wisdom.
don't. Wisdom.
Wisdom.
It went through. I got a 17.
Okay.
It just took a bit.
We got there, folks. So a 17, 17 will do it. Kieran, what you see when you do this, it is more exhausting though than a typical dispel magic, as you are it's almost similar to how you were cracking the curse with Wiswick, where you start to feel presences beyond the marred spiral, scripts that you can see that's scattered across it, where it's almost as if the marring with the Pallid King sigil was more of a aesthetic tool to discourage and create that sense of profanement, while the real magic was the curse underneath. And you can see as you're manipulating the magic, you can see one by one the Ugam runes that are across it burn up, almost like ink being singed away from it. These bright green runes that you can see now just... And as you complete the spell, you would see sort of really quickly, almost like a fuse, and sort of this flame, just sort of this bronze-colored flame, burns the entire spiral's length, and it essentially is healing the hammer. As you can see, the bronze fire slowly burns it all away. The fire, the magic of the god Fearsol, bound within this hammer originally, returns and burns away the last remaining vestige of the blighted curse. There's a scar in the coloration of the stone and metal, where you can faintly see the spiral still over the runes. But other than that faint coloration, the hammer is returned to its rune-covered state, devoted to Fearsol.
Kieran taps a little with his hand and goes, "Welcome back, Smith Drake. Hopefully we can finish the fight you started so long ago." Then he turns to the dagger. He goes, "Ugh." Then he casts Dispel Magic at 7th level.
Okay. Give me a roll. Well,
Someone want to just do a d20 for me?
Yeah, because we know we're just adding 5 to it.
12 +5 is 17.
Okay. Perhaps it's how much it took out of you to rid the hammer of the curse of the Pallid King and the Cirrus, but the dagger fights back much more aggressively. You see a similar screeching shrill go through the flesh-like ichor material on it. That's the prongs of the black exerted, but it almost, instead of the prongs of the black that shrank back and retracted out of fear, this almost like viciously lashes out. As you can see the ooze attempting to grab at your hands anytime you get close to it. But the magic does not dispel.
Aaron ties it back up in the cloth and tucks it into the bag of holding, but he keeps the hammer tucked within his whatever vestments. That's a word. And then time passes. We went Scarlet.
Yep. So I'll freshly bathed. I will go and look for you. And what are you doing when I get to the sanctuary?
When you arrive, Kieran has his journal and notes scattered all about the floor as he sits cross-legged, the staff levitating next to him as he's just poring over everything. The bag of holding is there, and he occasionally you see as you're entering, he's looking at the heart of Maius. He's like, I should really figure out what to do with this. Puts it back in as he notices, or as you enter, and he notices you but doesn't say anything.
Of course he does. Million perception. Are you still working?
There's always more work to be done, Scarlet. Better to do it now than when we're face to face with the Pallid King, right? He says, looking up at her.
I'll go sit down cross-legged in front of you again, like we did so long ago. And just say, well, you've got to take a break at some point. It's not good to push through.
And at this, he does kind of lean back and rubs his eyes and his palms into his eyes, and taps the staff and lowers it to the ground. And he goes, "There'll be time to rest when the planes of existence are safe. Until then, I must devote all my time and efforts into stopping the king. Every day we see a little more of his corruption plaguing us."
Huron, it's going to take much longer than you anticipate for it to work itself out. And I have no doubt that you'll find the answer. But you can't push yourself like this. After everything you did for me yesterday, how can you still be working?
I barely did anything for you. I simply cast a spell and said some fancy words. You did all the real work.
Don't downplay it, Huron. That was...
Downplay what?
That was something I didn't know I needed to hear. And it was exactly what I needed to light the fire again.
We all need a little help from time to time. Even if it's just telling us that we're stronger than we think we are. I'm always happy to help.
Is there anything I can help you with? Maybe putting these things away so that you can go take a nap? As I start gathering the notes and shuffling them.
Well, there's one thing you can do for me. Just take this back. And he reaches into his armor and presents her with the hammer. It's a little heavy. I don't know how you wield it so often.
When did you do this?
Oh, just between a few research sessions.
You do too much for me, Huron. I don't deserve it.
Well, I only act on the will of Iluvan. She wishes her champions to be the strongest that they are able to be.
This will be interesting trying to balance this new weapon. It had something in it that was scared. Just like I am. So in a way, it's very comforting.
What's the expression? 2 peas in a pod, I believe?
Close enough.
Well,
And
I'm glad that...
good.
I simply was saying I'm glad that the prongs can serve you so well. I'll admit, for escape fuel, well, it doesn't... It almost... I feel bad for it.
I don't.
Oh.
But perhaps someday. And you see
I mean, don't
that
get me wrong. Go
You-
ahead, sorry.
You see that it looks like that I want to tell you more, and I want to just kind of like word vomit, but I don't. Just swallow it, and just kind of hold the dagger. The hammer. Thank you.
You know, it couldn't have been easy. Spending time with the Cirrus. As you'll recall, I spent quite some time with Escaped Fuel myself. They are, simply put, the most evil thing I have ever had the misfortune to encounter in my life.
His shoulders just sag with relief, and as you remind her that you've endured something similar, or remind me that you've endured something similar. It was awful, Huron. I can't imagine what it was like for you with Myers, but I hope it was nothing like what I endured with the Cirrus.
Well, you had the grave misfortune to, in a way, become part of her. At least I was lucky in my separation from the Hive. His powers over me were still great. And I can still remember the pain, as if my entire body was on fire, but not a single cell in my skin was broken.
That's what it felt like for me too. And she made me see you and Timber and Wiswick and Cal and my brother and everyone, and she made me hate you. And I did.
Myers, well, was it you or was it that thing in your neck?
Well, that wasn't in my neck yet. That was towards the end. But, point taken. No, it wasn't me. I was watching from far away. And it's the most maddening feeling. Watching everything happen, but not being able to do anything about it.
Yes, I've seen through Myers the Pallid King erupting time and time and time again, devouring our plane, watching all of you fall in combat, or simply by the slow corruption he's letting out in our plane. And every time, simply watched it all, bound, sure that it was not real, and yet the way was shown to me. And you just see at this point Huron's shoulders slump, and you see his hands kind of fidget a little in his lap, and you notice how bony and gnarled they are. And you see just how slight his frame has become from when you first met him. The drooping mouth, the nose pointed downwards now, the ears dipping, the messy bun. There's no braids left when he so immaculately had it prepared every day before the rest of you would wake. The crow's feet that emanate from his eyes, and you can just see the bags under them. And Huron looks very, very tired.
I'll reach out and squeeze your hand.
He gives you a squeeze back and looking back up at you.
If I may.
Yes.
And I'll stand up and go behind you, and I'll braid your hair.
Scarlet, what do you... No, I did... Oh.
Just let it happen, Huron. Just let someone take care of you for a change.
A look of resignation crosses his face as his body just kind of like detenses, and there's a quiet that passes between the two of us, and he goes, the last person to braid my hair like this was my mother before I left for Terrace Moor.
I hope I'm not disrespecting anything. I can stop.
No, I don't think Ilivania gives a care about how we braid our hair.
Well, this looks always suited you. And besides, you can't do your research with your hair on your face like that.
That's true. It does get quite annoying. I thought about just cutting it all off, but that's a style for the youth, and I'm not quite as young as I used to be. I'm not like you lot. Oh, I remember when we first met, and we were all young together. And I had the misfortune to be finger of death.
Well, I'll let you. No, you know what? Let's go. I'm walking you back to your room. We need to go to bed. And I will stand up and extend my hand out expectantly.
There's no arguing with you, is there? And he clasps your hand and pulls himself to his feet with yours.
Lead you out to your room.
Lovely. And you lead Huron back, and Huron, you rest in the bed. And Huron, do you want to like sleep actually, and not like trance?
I think Huron will. He intends to simply lay down, and then Scarlet like goes, "Okay, you actually sleep? Oh, like when your parents do." It's okay, bye. And then he was like, "I need to legend lore. I have so many things to do."
She pokes
And he's
her head
just
back
like-
in. Nope.
Like for the first time, he like is actually laying on a bed, and he goes, "Oh, this is. I think I." And he like snuggles in a little more, and he goes, "I'll just close my eyes just for a moment." And then he spends the rest of the day asleep.
Hey, Scarlet, where's Huron? I want him to do stuff for me.
Shh. No, later.
Do you all know who the last person to try to braid Huron's hair is?
Riley.
Oh my God,
Reagan.
Reagan.
Reagan, whatever.
The drunk
White girl.
noble girl in Oranshire.
And then he ended up braiding her hair in the traditional Elysian fashion.
Yes, it was great.
As an acolyte of Illyvania, actually. I hope she remembered that braid. It's been passed down by generations.
He actually lives in Elysia now.
She's a convert, yay!
That's one.
So, at this point, I think we will start to just say you can just present what you'd like to do with some of your remaining time and what day you'd like to do it on, and we will go from there. So, who would like to go first? Wizzy.
I think Wiswick would. I mean, he's kind of taking a brighter look at things now that he's spoken to his family, and things seem to be getting better with Scarlet. So he wants to try and make himself more useful for the party, and to do that, he is going to try and, on the first day that he gets some time off, he's gonna find like the closest guardhouse of, I'm living in the estate, so I'm assuming that there's like, somebody who I know nearby who like works closely with Clay, and just see if there's anything around the town that I can use to help. I'm gonna offer my golem services for just moving things and construction work, as well as like my own services as a wizard. Maybe I can cast some larger level transmute earth spells to clean some places up. Sanitary if necessary. Sanitation. I guess those are probably things that are infrastructure based for the city. That might be, I might be able to show myself. And in the meantime, just trying to continue to acclimate my golem to living with humans and, meshing with society. So I'll have him around me all the time and use any opportunity I can to, like, teach him about stuff.
Absolutely. Okay. So, Wiswick, you're going to do what you can to serve the community and help out.
That is until somebody completely throws me off the rails and tells me to do something else.
Totally. I'll say when you have like when there's when someone's not asking you to do something, this is what you're doing.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Next. Timber.
So Timber knows things about Brahm and what he has purchased in the past. And he doesn't like the fact that magic items are just going to be stuck in a little storage cell. So he's going to take it upon himself to do some recon, see where they went. Maybe try to go get some. He's going to let Wiswick know, because Wiswick would be the only person that would be understanding of this.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for
on this day?
There's nothing in particular that he's looking for. He's looking for just something that can help the party in some sort of manner. Or like would be useful to anybody in particular. It's not only to him. It's to everybody. And then he's got a second thing that could be on a later day. But that's probably I think I want to save this for like the last day before we meet the Duke. And then
you want to do? The last thing you want to do?
Yeah. It's the second thing I want to do. But
Timber, go ahead and just give me. I'm gonna ask you to give me 3 rolls.
Sure.
First one is stealth.
I'm gonna add 10 to that because it's gonna assume that I can add pass without trace.
Totally fine. Second
also,
one's
I would wait till nighttime, so I would probably get advantage on that because I'm gonna use myself or make myself invisible.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Second one is
sorry.
acrobatics.
I screwed up. Okay.
2 + 2 = 4.
2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 = 4. 2 + 2 Okay.
Last one is sleight of hand.
Okay.
And I don't want the individual rolls. I want the total of the 3.
Ooh, this is gonna be pretty easy actually. It's 75.
75. Okay. Okay. I'll resolve that in a moment. Other things that folks want to do.
I have one thing, but I want to let other people do their stuff first.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know if I connected anywhere in that, but if I got like an odd job that could help him out, I might, investigate something for him. Whatever.
Yeah, you will in due time after I collect
forget it.
anything. If I collect anything that like looks
yeah.
like interesting, I'm like, yeah, sure.
Love it. Sarathil and Curon, what are you generally doing over the next 5 days?
Sure. You have anything? Well, there's 2 things that happen. First, given that the way Sarathil is and learning about this escape fuel and the Pallid King and everything that's transpired in the next or the past like couple days, although he has the thoughts of Chromatus Hinterlands in the back of his mind and the plague or the sickness that he just cured, he wants to learn more about the escape fuel or anything he can on this, just because of like his curiosity. It's something he doesn't know and something that he needs to know. So like for the first 2 days, he'll toil through the library that exists on the estate there and just bringing stacks of books, sitting them down, and just constantly just reading and just doing research, just finding out as much as he can and learning whatever he can, if anything, because who knows, even if there is anything in this library. But then reality will kind of come back to him and he'll remember what his kind of purpose is. And he will take a trip down to, I guess, the rougher part of the city at some point to see the refugees that are there, knowing that the Gwyn Empire or the Quintarchy are the ones responsible for the displacement of them, and feeling a bit of guilt that is his own people, and reflecting on how he kind of treated Governor Clay at first, saying, how could you let this happen to your own people? I think it was just more on the sense of where he recognizes that he was just upset that this is still happening after 1,000 years. And he'll do whatever he can to just help whoever's out there, whether it be find them food, shelter, give a little bit of magical cures to anything that's ailing them, anything just to kind of help out.
Absolutely. Okay. For the research side of that, I'd like you to give me 3 rolls. We're going to do a similar thing to Timber.
Yeah, again, and this could be a shot in the dark, because I'm sure this is not something that's commonly known.
History, Arcana, and a religion check, and then add up the total.
Okay.
That's the trifecta for Wiswick.
42. And religion?
Yep.
64.
Okay. I will resolve that in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You said 64, right?
Yeah. It was a 20, a 22, and a 22.
Nice. And Curon, what would you like to be doing over these 5 days? I know that some of you might have things you want to do at the very end. That's fine. This is mostly just kind of more of the day-to-day things you want to do.
Day-to-day, Curon is just, I'd say he's probably actually awaiting Oriel a lot to like discuss what's going on and trying to get a better sense of the Duke and how to kind of not cater, but to get to his like better graces, I guess, and same with the Gwen Senate, when that should happen. But otherwise, he's spending a lot of time doing research, obviously. I think he's actually going to hold off on the legend lore on the Escape Fuelum.
Okay.
And then whenever it's ready, he'll pick up his glass titan arm.
Okay. Because I know you really want it for the meeting, I'll allow it to be done the day before the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say generally like 3 to 4 days go by as you're doing all of these different tasks, helping out in the town, research, some reconnaissance for timber, and then I'll kind of leave like the last 2 days for more specific things that may require some more roleplay. So what I'd like from you all now is those specific things that you'd like to do, that are may require some roleplay. And then I'm gonna resolve these things.
If nobody else wants to go, I'll go.
Go for it.
Cool. At some point, I want to go find Wiswick because in the time that I've spent kind of recovering and thinking some thoughts that are finally not dark, they strayed back to her brother, and all of this, business with the Pallid King, it reminds her that he's got something to do with that. And so she decides that she wants to go find Wiswick, and when she does, I'll knock on the door. Actually, Wiswick, where are you? Where will I find you?
What time of day is it?
Say like late afternoon.
Wiswick is getting off of a shift where he was doing some like he was having his golem, make a wall or something like that out of mud. And
What I'll say, as far as like flavoring Wiswick, like helping people out, because I imagine by like actually this is my question, Scarlett. What day are you at? Are you doing this on between 3 and 5?
I'll do it on 4.
4. Okay. I imagine by the 4th day, Wiswick's been doing some stuff with folks for at least a day now, and after his research, I'd say by this point, Sarathil has kind of joined him as Sarathil went down to observe the refugees and help out in the Septazaar. This is the place that needs the most help. So by this point, Sarathil and Wiswick have spent a whole day of magical labor together, helping the community, and maybe returning on their way back to the estate.
yeah, so he's just like rubbing his hands off on a handkerchief, and you can see that he's wearing like his old clothes because he doesn't want to get his new stuff dirty. So he looks very reminiscent of like when you first met him because he hasn't grown at all. And he just walks up and says like he's punching out, he's like, "Good job, Sarathil, see you tomorrow." the golem's like, stretching. I say, "Yeah, good work out there, big guy, way to pull your weight." And then he sees Scarlet coming, and he starts waving his hands. Worked. Time for happy hour. What's going on, Scarlet?
You would actually hear the golem behind Wiswick in this sort of grumbled, rocky voice. It's like, "Happy hour."
Well, you've done some work with him.
Yeah, he's getting the hang of it.
Well-
He's like,
Ain't you, buddy?
and then I just like wave at him.
Well, if you're busy,
Scarlet.
Yes, that is.
It like weirdly holds its hand out to shake your hand. Its hand is the size of your torso.
I'll use both of my hands.
Yeah,
to
you're
shake
holding
it.
just its pointer finger as it shakes your hand.
Do you have a name for your golem yet, Wiswick?
I'm still holding off on that. Trust me, I've been bouncing names around for a long time. But I feel like if my theory is correct, it should already have a name. And I feel like if I give it a name, I'll be, it just doesn't seem right to me. I kind of want to have it, tell me about a lot of things. And I feel like for now, he's just Golem, or she's just Golem, or it's just Golem. I have no idea, honestly. Do you have a gender, big guy?
Golem.
Yep, he's Golem.
Right. Pleased to meet you, Golem. Wiswick, if you're busy, this can wait till later.
Pleased to meet you, Scarlet.
Okay.
He really likes to shake, I think.
Yeah, that I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, we've been teaching him how to be polite to people, and he's he's taken pretty naturally to it.
That's good.
Maybe a little too much.
Well, he hasn't said much besides Golem.
Golem.
Wiswick, it was good working with you today, but I'm a bit tired. I'm going to retreat back to the state.
All right, buddy. See you around.
Sarathil.
Golem. Scarlet.
Golem.
Scarlet.
Sarathil?
Now, head up.
So are you going somewhere, Wiswick? So
Well-
I can catch you later.
No. This is the perfect time. I haven't really looked around here too often. But the wine cellar gets a little stuffy all alone. So I was thinking about maybe hitting a tavern, getting, something cold to after a long, hard day of work.
And you can see that, like, Wiswick, even though he was working all day, does not look like he's sweating particularly. Like, the Golem was doing most of the work. He was just casting magic.
Yeah.
Well, what I want to ask of you is something that should be done behind closed doors.
Oh, okay. I'm interested.
Just heard it.
Wiswick is our black market.
Yeah, right.
God.
Remember that time you did accidentally buy drugs?
Yep.
Exhibit A.
Why don't we walk back to the estate for just a little while?
Got it. Golem, privacy mode.
And basically, I just command him to, like, step back and, like, actually, no, he goes in front of us and he just, like, curbs people. Like, if there are people in front of us, he just, like, gently,
he's just essentially
gently
making a
pushes
path.
people away.
Just
Yeah.
generally in the middle of the road, making sure there's just
Amazing.
everyone is walking around 10 feet in front
Amazing.
of you all.
So when we get back to the estate, we'll go. I don't. Where are you most comfortable casting your magic?
I mean, I love casting my magic. Are you thinking about doing something big? Like, should I be outside?
No, nothing like that. I was wondering if you might have the energy to have a look at, and the words kind of are stuck, and I say, Thatcher.
Yeah, sure. We can do that. Last time I think I tried using the crystal ball, which was kind of useful. But that thing's a little scary, so maybe I just tell you what I see. Is that all right?
That would be perfectly fine, thank you.
So yeah, Wiswick basically just starts setting up the ritual, and as he's, like, preparing for casting scrying, he's gonna look at her and just like offhandedly say,
Did you learn anything new while you were gone? I mean, I know this is a touchy subject, but I haven't given up on Thatcher. It would be interesting to see. I know Timber's been talking a lot about him. Did he have any? Have you spoken to him about Thatcher recently?
No, I haven't. Do you know what he's been doing?
I kind of get the a little bit of idea of it. I think he tried to use. He like went to him in his dreams and said some sneaky things and tried to pit him against General Kinsley. It was a little over my head, but he might have pulled something off. He seemed to be pretty happy with the results.
Right, I'll go find him after. To answer your earlier question, no, I haven't thought about him in a very long time.
Well, I hope this helps.
and I cast the spell.
Okay. I already rolled for him. But he did not succeed.
Sweet.
Wiswick, you feel your conscious sensory self leave your body and zoom through cloud and astral sea to land somewhere else. The first sensation you get is the sensation of what you're hearing around you. Fire. You hear the crackling of fire. The groans of injured people. And at first, what you can see is dust, obscuring even the scrying eye. You're inside a building. The dust begins to settle. You could see there was some kind of explosion. You see bodies in the ground. Paper, wood, shrapnel. You're in a large chamber that's kind of is sort of bold in the middle with steps, where there's kind of a central area where one might stand to lead a meeting. It's a circular room. In the back of the room, you can see what looks like a makeshift throne made up of just sort of all manner of carved wood. Banners encircling the space, cut through holes from shrapnels of shredded wood. You can see light peeling in from a huge collapsed part of the wall, where you can see fire is burning at the edges of the hole in the wall. The first people you see, there are two figures that stand through this dust that's settling. Hanging from those banners that were hanging from the ceiling all around are crimson red. You see a hulking man by the throne, garbed in crimson attire that looks like a poor man's version of a king. bandolier daggers across his chest, and he has an axe in one hand. As he's sort of bleeding down his chin over a beard. He has a iron crown on with rubies inset in it. And as the dust settles further, you can see standing there is Thatcher. He is wearing his typical leather pants, boots, silk vest over a tunic, rolled up way up the sleeves. All dusty and covered in ash. His face has the same scars, both the one that Cal gave him and the one he already had. The side of his face, Cal cut much more gnarled and open. You can see his teeth through the wounds in his skin. He is gray skin like Scarlet here. The long, swept back red hair has been cut, and he seems to have shaved it all off himself with a dagger, seemingly, because it's like unevenly shorn down to very short. As he has a dagger in his hand. The original dagger of Return Scarlet used to wield that he stole from her.
Any mask on his person?
Right now, no. He's just Thatcher.
Is there anything in the room, maybe the ripped up banners, or, just me being from seeing a lot of places, does the architecture remind me of anywhere, like any way I can identify, like, where he might be? I mean, I have a good guess he's like somewhere north, but
Give me a insight check.
okay.
I know where he is.
I got a 10.
Vaguely somewhere north.
Is there anything else I could glean? As usual, I'm going to hold the scry for as long as possible. If nothing seems to be happening, I'll start illustrating my thought process out or enunciating my thought process out to Scarlet, and look under things, see if there's any dead bodies nearby, any other clues I might be able to uncover.
A few things. One, there are dead bodies around. They look like they're garbed in leather armor, and most of them seem to have been killed or injured by this explosion. There's no one, you don't see any of Thatcher's goons. He seems to be completely alone. And these two are circling each other, essentially. And if you stay and listen, you can hear them talk to each other.
Right.
You would hear Thatcher start. I just want to know where she is. I just want to know where her body is. And don't worry, I cut his tongue out, so I ended that loose end for you. So no one else will weasel their way in. And you hear this hulking man just sort of laugh and kind of pick up this big axe that he has.
You're a rat, Thatcher. A poor excuse for criminal. You may have done something today, but I'll strangle that smile off your face and she'll devour your soul.
And Thatcher's just, you see, he kind of scratches his head with the dagger. It's difficult. We're doing it the hard way. And you see he just throws the dagger at him immediately. And you see this guy just sort of whacks it away with the axe. And you watch, and Thatcher just holds his hands out as this guy rushes towards him and swings his axe at him, and Thatcher kind of steps to the side, dodging it. But he's still not fighting. He's just sort of dodging it and mocking this guy through the entire fight. Oh, well, real criminals don't pretend they're kings, I think. I thought you were the greatest assassins guild on the continent. What happened to you, Mason? And this guy gets angrier and angrier at Thatcher as he's dodging these things. And then eventually he drops the axe and he grabs Thatcher by the throat. Thatcher just lets him, with a grin on his face, as this guy is strangling Thatcher right now. Give me a perception check for the end of the vision.
Strain my third eye as hard as I can. 18.
Okay. Thatcher's arms are just hanging at his sides. It's strange that he's letting him essentially kill him right now. What you notice in one of Thatcher's hands appears, like shadow, the dagger of return. That very quickly slits the man's throat.
Oh, shit.
And as the man starts to confusedly gargle, he drops to a knee, and he's still holding on to Thatcher with the last bit of his life, trying to kill him. But it's almost like he's instead slowly descending, like as he falls to his knees, like Thatcher's feet touch the ground. And the hands slowly fall off Thatcher's neck. As the king of the Crimson Court dies in front of him. And your vision fades as you're pulled out of this back to reality with Scarlet.
Have you been describing it this whole time?
Yeah, in super graphic detail.
You're telling me he just slit the throat of the leader of the court?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a win for us.
Why would he do that?
Wait, you're not happy about this?
I don't know what to think about this. If anything, it just makes the Cirrus more powerful. He's not standing in her way anymore. He's not a nuisance anymore.
That's troubling to hear.
Why would he do that? What was he doing there?
It sounded like he was looking for you. Something about where her body was. He thinks you're dead still.
All right. Thank you, Wiswick. I need to go process this. I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm out.
As she's walking out the door, he's like,
You could also just not process it. We could get wasted. And then the door closed.
And I think at that note, it's time for us to take a break. So, Shannon, if you'd like to take it away for our giveaway.
Give me a second. Talk about something while I get this set up, please.
So, folks, we are doing the giveaway for the Talon and Claw. What is it? It's a dice vault, right?
Uh-huh.
Yes, Talon and Claw dice vault. That is going to. You can also
Council of 7.
Council of 7. Thank you. That's what I was trying to think of. Which you will also be able to get a custom engraving on as part of this giveaway. So, as Shannon is getting this set up, what is our...
Okay.
Ooh,
Our
let's think of a name or a word. Is
I
that-
got it already.
You already got it?
Hashtag
Aw.
2. TWO. Hashtag 2. Because we're 2. We've entered the terrible 2s. Hashtag 2. Put that in
Alright,
chat for
folks.
chance to win the thing.
Council of
The-
7
thank
dice
you.
ball
The
from our
Council of
good friends, our
with the
partners at
custom-
Talon and Claw.
Yep.
There's
with
5
the
of
custom
us.
engraving.
There's only 2 players though.
Get out of here.
It's just Sean.
Hashtag 2, people.
and
Put it in
Sean's
chat.
other-
Hashtag 2.
It's,
Guys,
it's
get
Sean
those-
and other Sean.
Yeah.
Sean and other Sean, yeah.
Good God.
Everyone get those hashtag 2s in chat. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be back shortly.
I'm 30.
Some of us are 30.
You're live.
Hey, buddy. Well, hello there, buddy.
Hey,
Um,
hey.
Well, hey there, buddy.
Welcome back, everybody. We are
Thanks.
going to... thank you for appreciating it. We are going to do our giveaway now, Shannon. Why don't you give them one more opportunity, talk a little bit about what they're going to win, and while she's talking, folks, you have a last chance to get #2 into the
TWO.
chat.
TWO. Yes, because we're 2. We're entering our terrible 2s, or as I like to think of it, our terrific 2s.
Now we're terrible.
No. But yes, you could win this round. You could win a Council of 7 dice vault with a custom engraving from our lovely partners, Talon and Claw. And if you stick around until the end of our stream, we will have a hardwood spell tracker to give away from Arcane Spectacles. Also, if you haven't already, and can one of you do ! UO bundle? You've been seeing it all throughout chat. I purposely made it spam through chat because I want everybody who's here to be able to get in on the Underground Oracle Publishing bundle. So if you haven't filled out that Google form yet, do the thing so we can get you that. Thank you. You can get you that awesome bundle full of amazing content. Okay, count me down, DM.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swear to God, if it's Patch.
It's Nick.
They must
Oh
be
my
competing
God.
over
Yeah,
it.
this is
I know,
rigged.
right?
This is
Nick's
rigged.
catching up on. Yeah, it's catching up on it. Jesus Christ! All
Yeah,
right,
we're
well,
gonna have to in the future. We're gonna have to give them like you can win up to 2 prizes in a
right
quarter.
per quarter. Yeah.
Per quarter.
Congratulations, Scry
Congrats,
Society.
Nick. I don't need your info. I have it.
Our good friend Nick, my murder
boy.
mystery's son, my boy.
Your boy.
My boy.
All
My
right.
boy.
Congrats, Nick. If you feel left out, don't worry. We have another giveaway at the end of the night, so stick around for that. And
There you go.
see if you win.
There you go.
There you go. I think you got. All right.
My boy.
Let's jump back into the session for tonight, folks. So, Wiswick has just scryed upon Erdwulf Thatcher, the what seems to be a corrupted criminal version of Scarlet's brother, Rowan's brother, Reese. The fate, at least, that happened to him over the years that she was searching for him. And she saw him, or he saw him, essentially infiltrating in his own way and slaughtering a lot of the Crimson Court, including the de facto leader, who has been known as the King of the Court, sort of the face of the Crimson Court, in a search for Scarlet's, what he believes, dead body. So,
Yikes.
we come back at this point. Shannon, is there anything Scarlet wants to do? This is on the 4th day.
Ooh,
Go ahead, Sarathil.
sorry. We never resolved my research.
Oh, yes, that's right. What did you get? You got a 64?
Yeah.
And we also didn't resolve Timber's magical thing.
Do that first.
So I'm going to resolve all of those while you think about what you want to do, Scarlet, and then we're going to transition into the last 2 days and what people want to do during those last 2 days. I'll say that this revelation of Thatcher is leading from the 4th and 5th day into these last 2 days. So we'll start with Sarathil. So with the 64, it's difficult to find a lot of information about the Scapulum. The knowledge doesn't seem to have been preserved, or at worst hasn't even been really examined too thoroughly. You do find some texts about the Shadowfell in the governor's library that has some theories around it. And you find sort of some research into what the Scathulum are, but it's very much so vague in the sense of there's loose ideas of vampire-like creatures that have been reported. There's a little bit of information about a old cult in the town of Sumerlinden that may have had something to do with this with the Shadowfell. Unbeknownst to you, these heroes here that's where they first encountered the Scathulum. But it appears that the contemporary societies don't have a lot of information on them. A lot of the information, the new information, has come from Huron, really, of all people. But you don't learn much new that you didn't already have either inklings of. If anything, it's a good confirmation of what you already know.
That's fair. Sarathil's instinct is just like, I gotta find something. Something's there. I gotta look for it.
To be honest with you, yeah, like what I said as a DC for discovering new things, you were very close to it.
It's been a long couple of days. It's a little exhausted.
Yeah. Okay. Timber.
Talking about me?
Talking about you? Do you want a magic item? Do you want a magic item? Yeah. Go get it. In your sneaky sneaks and your sleight of handing and acrobating in the night, I'd say you're able to essentially infiltrate.
Also,
go ahead.
I did the thing wrong. It's supposed to be 85, not 75.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, that's a little different. Okay. I would say then, if that's the case, instead of getting one thing, you get two things. So in infiltrating, you essentially get to the estate and infiltrate it as they've mostly cleaned it out. There are just sort of a few remaining things that to you reek of magic, but may have seemed like maybe they were not as magical or not as important to the investigators and the guard of Vermalcia. One item, I have to go look back at my notes of what he has, and I'll give you one of those. So it's going to be probably a rare magic item. The other thing, though, I do have for you, which is this one. It stands out to you because it is it looks old. It looks like an like a proper artifact. Like it has even barely been cleaned off of residue that's on it after it was discovered and sold at the auction house as kind of this authentic piece of ancient relic. It's kind of like a cylinder. It looks like a cryptic, if you know what those are, which are these kind of cylinder puzzles that require maneuvering to unlock. And it has a series of just sort of rough rock that seems to be growing over it. And the thing that probably stands out the most about this is that the rock, although not glowing in any way, you could swear it looks like a dried up version of the organic rock you've seen on carcery based constructs. You can kind of see where there may have been veins shooting through it, and the way that carcery's creatures, their carapace, looks like it feels like stone, but it has this organic appearance to it. This has something on it that's similar to that. So realistically, what it looks like to you is a little puzzle box, essentially, that has growth on it. And you also get a rare magic item to be determined by next stream.
Cool.
When you look that up, also find out what size the magic.
I will, because I actually do have that written down in the notes of what he had. So I'll get that for you as well.
Thanks.
But that's what you get. All right. So other than that, before we move into kind of the last third of the downtime, Sarathil and Wiswick, you spend much of your days helping the folk of the town. Building shelters is probably the number one thing they need help with, because of all the refugees, and handing out food and doing things that otherwise they don't have the labor power to manage. But each day you come back a bit tired, a bit exhausted, but satisfied in doing some good works for the city of Vermelsia. And closer towards the end of the week, its effects are felt. Like you can tell people are more relaxed, happier. You can sense a more of a community as people are together and doing things, as opposed to when you first got down here and you saw people huddled around fires and people were scared to leave their homes and tents. There's just a bit more life in this city now. And it's perfect timing as slowly but surely Gwyn reinforcements begin to come into the town one by one with new resources and new support. And though the sun still shines in the sky, concealed by the eclipse of the long dark, the days feel bright in spirit. So, we're coming upon the last 2.5 days of your downtime. When Scarlet and Wiswick have discovered this about Thatcher, and those of you with more direct intentional needs before the meeting, such as, I'd say, Curine, you're told that Governor Clay is going to meet with all of you the day before the meeting with the Duke. So on these last, realistically, 2 days spread over 3, what would you all like to do?
As soon as we that has been revealed, I like to think that I would turn on my heel and immediately go find Timber, with some of that old fire and rage coming back, and just like, where would you be, Timber? Where would I find you?
What time of day is it?
It would be
It was like early after or late afternoon, like early evening.
by this point it would probably be like
It's like dinner
5 or
time, right?
6. Yeah.
Oh, he would be probably the estate in the kitchen at this point.
Great. So I come just bursting through the kitchen door in just this towering rage. You haven't seen this in a very, very long time. It's almost a welcome sight. Almost. Wiswick told me that you have been watching my brother, and now he just saw him murder the head of the Crimson Court. What the hell have you been doing?
Oh! Wait, that's... No, I've just been chatting with him, you know.
What do you mean chatting with him?
Scarlet's back.
What were you saying to him?
Oh,
What provoked him to go and do that? What did you do?
Timber's like eating a piece of food after, like, right after she asks a question to, like, delay answering the question. Just
He's shoving food in his mouth.
I thought that, well, so you were gone, and we decided that we should, you know, kind of maybe pin Thatcher against the Crimson Court and maybe General Kinsley, you know.
Where did he come into all of this?
He's just a powerful force. So might as well.
What did you do?
I shared a dream with him and I told him things. You know how I gave you a nice little dream before? Let's just say I didn't give him a nice one, and I was posed as General Kinsley. And then we told, or Curon, sorry. Actually, this is more accurate. Curon told
Euron's involved with this?
Yeah. No, he's not. I did this. He's fine.
Insight check.
Jeez.
I don't think you need to roll for that.
He's full of shit.
Roswick's just in the back with Sarathil, like, I planned this the whole time. I wasn't going down like this.
It's like, I've been bored lately, so I planned this.
All right, okay, all right. So you're telling me you gave him nightmares, essentially, and then he took those nightmares and decided to go rampage at the Crimson Court. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, I know he's angry. I didn't know what he would be doing specifically.
No, I'm angry,
Right,
Timber.
and so is
He's I don't even know what word to use with him. You can't toy with a mind like his.
But I did.
I know you did.
You notice, Scarlet, are you in like your general full attire?
Yeah.
Scarlet, you notice as Scarlet gets angry, you see like coming from her waist, where the prongs to the black hangs, is just the snake-like form comes out, and it just looks angry, and it's just sort of like gesturing towards you, very too close to your face for a jagged blade. And Scarlet, you just now notice that that's happening.
Jeremiah, not now.
No.
What? I named it Jeremiah. It kept looking at me, so...
Stop deflecting.
What?
You can't toy with a psychotic mind like his. Who knows what he's going to do next? He essentially just handed full control over to the Cirrus. I'm surprised that I'm not killing you all right now.
What if we have him kill the Cirrus then? Just
No. I want to do that. He doesn't get to do that.
But he'll just do it for you.
After everything I went through, he doesn't get to do that.
Can I have him kill General Kinsley then?
Fine.
Okay.
I don't want to break character.
I know.
So what are you going to do now? Are you going? Do we give him another nightmare? Do we lead him somewhere else? Like I don't want him there. I don't want him there in all of the Cirrus's rage. He's in danger.
So the way you get him to stop is to have him know that you're not being held captive there, or that they have your body.
He still thinks I'm dead. Yes.
Correct.
Can you tell him that I'm alive?
Can
you do that dream thing again?
I could.
I think that would be a good idea. And turns around and walks out, slams the door behind her. Oh, that felt so good.
Just crawls up to Timber and says,
Well, at least she ended on a good note. That seemed like constructive.
You told her
right?
this. Wait, how'd you know? You did this, didn't you?
Well, I mean, she had a right to know, right? You were gonna tell her anyway, right, buddy?
No, she would have figured it out the hard way. Oh, look, the Crimson Court's dead, the Cirrus is dead, and then General Crimson's dead. How did it happen?
Yeah, but this is valuable information that you can use in further manipulation attempts. In fact, you should be thanking me.
No.
Oh my God.
Now she's going to make sure that Thatcher knows that she's alive. This is not.
Well, what do you mean? You're the guy with the nightmare, and you're already in the doghouse. So, why don't you just not do what she tells you to do, right? We can just continue the ploy and get Kinsley murdered, and Scarlet could be none the wiser for a little bit longer.
I wish I didn't walk away.
That's what you get for being
I
a
know.
hothead, or being a hothead again.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's, I'll tell her that I talked to him.
That's a good boy. And I just pat his head maniacally.
God.
Okay. So this is the end of the 4th day. We will be entering the 5th day and the 6th day, which will be kind of like the last days you guys can do things.
Just say dawn of the final day.
Sounds ominous.
It is
It's
ominous.
from a earlier reference. Clayton got it.
Yeah.
Oh,
good move,
okay.
man.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, you'll be meeting with the Duke on the 7th day. So you have the 5th and the 6th day left to do something. Before we get into the 5th day, Timber.
Oh.
As you snuggle up in the library for your rest this evening, you dream. When you wake up in this dream, you're in a circular room with torn red banners all around. In the center of the room is a tall pile of bodies burning. What do you do?
I stay away from the bodies, and I look around, not going towards the bodies.
Yeah. You would hear from the shadows on the other side of the body, and now you can start to see some metal parts glittering off of the fire, the bonfire of bodies. See what looks like a dagger, some jewels, maybe a crown. You hear from across in the darkness a voice. I really have to thank you for this new ability.
Oh! Do I?
And then, you would see him lean forward so that you can see him in the darkness. And you can see his arms are covered in blood up to the elbows and onto the sleeves that he's rolled up. And you can see he's sitting on the King of the Crimson Court's makeshift throne. And in front of him is an ottoman or something that someone put a little barrel. And you can see sitting right on top of that barrel with Scarlet's old dagger returns jammed in the head is the head of the Crimson King. You just see Thatcher's hand is on the top of it, and he's just running his fingers across the top like this.
Is that someone important? Also, do I know you? I say with a smirk.
Yeah. And you see he smirks as well, and you can kind of see the light reflect off his teeth. No, I guess not. Or yes, you've been giving me dreams, and I didn't think it was you. I suspected some of the others. It didn't seem like you had it in you, the magic. But you gave yourself away pretty quickly. But I was curious for information.
Yeah, I did, but it was worth a shot.
But I think you lied to me.
Oh, a Timber like tries to find like a some sort of seat to sit next to Thatcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can like there's like debris around. You can easily pick up a chair and like sit directly across from him, just with this bloodied head right in the middle of the two of you.
Yeah. What would you like me to clarify, or rectify
Where
that
is she?
lie? Well, at the time I was not lying. She is now with us. Down south.
Mm. Last I knew, you were in Baramalcia.
Yeah, we've been out and about. What do you need with her?
I just want my sister.
What are you gonna do with her?
Is she alive?
She's being manipulated by the Seers though, so she's not exactly Scarlet or Rowan or whatever you want her to be. She has a parasite in the back of her head. And we tried to see if we can remove it, but it will cause serious brain damage if we try. So unless we rid of the Seers, then there is no real Scarlet right now, I should say.
Oh, well. She is a monster. Suppose that's a fitting end.
She gets angry, yes.
And you see he leans forward now, so he's fully in vision. You can see he picks up the head. He just puts it under his arm. Takes the dagger out. Follow me.
Sure. Timber gets up and starts following him.
You see he steps to the back behind this throne. You see as he gets up over to the throne, he just sort of drops the head and kicks it behind him, and it rolls into the middle of the room. You see he pulls a tarp back. He just gestures for you to go in.
Timber follows along, plays along, so he goes down.
Well, it's somewhere in here. Behind everything. Wherever they held her.
What's
I
that?
saw it. A chamber of flesh and horror. Hidden. If you want the Sirius, you'll have to go there.
One of our companions took a look in while she was over there, and that's what we saw too, or he saw. I didn't.
Stay out of my head.
Deal.
I'll stay out of yours if you stay out of mine.
Well, I might, come visit to give you some information here and there, but
Well,
if you want it, that is. Maybe I won't give you a nightmare anymore. Don't worry, and I won't play General Kinsley. Even though I want him dead, and you're really good
well,
at killing
he'll
people.
die soon enough.
Yeah, you think so? What makes you think that?
Well, he's an idiot.
I think so too, but
He's worse than you all. He thinks his authority gives him some divinity. But he's just trapping himself in little prisons like all of you.
worse than us. Oof, that's pretty low.
But seriously, stay out of my head. I won't have as light of a touch as you now that I have this power. You'll never sleep again.
Deal. But like I
He
said,
holds a bloody hand out to you to shake your hand.
uh,
Don't worry, he won't go crazy. It's a dream.
Yeah, it's true. Timber shakes his hand. But I might contact you if I need to talk to you. Is that alright? I won't give you a nightmare.
I'm all ears.
Deal.
For now, I'll be here.
Okay. What is your next plan? Are you going to look for a series? Are you going to travel and try to kill us?
I don't want to kill you. No, I just want her back. And if you stop that, yeah, I'll kill you.
That's fair.
We don't have to do that.
So what do you want with her? Why is she so important for your... If I remember correctly, you said something about the plan? You're not ready for the plan? I told you the truth. Come on.
Not so fast. Not so fast. Next
Okay.
time, enjoy. And he'll just sort of release your hand, because he never stopped shaking your hand this whole time.
Yeah.
And go ahead and give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, son of a bitch. Oops. Sorry. That's 5.
Yikes.
Everything's reversed in a dream, right?
Like right before the dream ends, and Timber knows it's like what's happening. He's just gonna say, "Asshole."
You're going to take 10 points of psychic damage, and you do not get a long rest for this evening.
Okay.
As you would, and it's not that you wake up at this point, it's that, and you know this dream ended, and it's a strange sensation because you know, because of the context and all he told you, like, you know you're dreaming, but you can't get out of that dream. It's kind of like sleep paralysis, which I know you know about. And it's horrifying. But you wake up unrested the next morning. And it is the last few days to do anything, so what would you all like to do?
Huron, I'd like to cast Legend Lore on the Scathe Fuel.
Okay. Is there, and this is not exactly how the spell works, but is there specific things you're looking to learn?
He is looking for... Actually, okay. So, actually, before we do that, Huron is going to cast Sending to Hadric, the Wayward One. In which he will say, Wayward One, I seek answers to questions which only you, in your infinite wisdom, sought out. How did you gain control of the Scathe Feeling?
Roll me the
It's a percentage.
percentile dice, yeah, for the chance for it to break through the material plane.
Well, it's just a 5% chance. Well, I thought I just turned this off. It's a 5% chance that it doesn't.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Never mind. Opposite of what I said. So go ahead and roll the percentile dice.
60.
Okay. As you send this spell, and this message transcends material plane and reaches out into the fields of death, you would hear in your mind, to at least know that this reached its place, you'd hear the rattle of chains, and the voice of Hadric would respond briefly. I found in the darkest and deepest places of the cosmos where their mind was. And after my deals with them seemed less than prosperous, I sought domination. I think the memories are dim over the years, but they are without a leash and without any to control them. Since my imprisonment. That's all.
Okay. I was really hoping he'd just tell me everything, but I guess we'll do it the hard way. Legend lore on the Scape Field. Looking for basically what he's focusing on is this their like origin.
Mm-hmm.
He, you know, subconsciously I think he's looking for weaknesses in them, but that's not necessarily strictly what he like is looking for. But that's always, you know, in the back of his mind is how to beat them. And then there's this curiosity around this mother idea. And her/its connection to Athromenos.
Okay. So you lay out the reagents for legend lore. I believe the last of what you have.
Right.
And the fumes of the incense inundate the room and surround you. Warp and fade into the different visions that you're familiar with. You feel the communing of Ilyavanya. Familiar presence. And this time, as you cast the spell, normally you get a flashing, almost painful images of whatever strings of reality she can twist to you to learn. And this time, you find yourself for a moment, at least, laying in the grass of the Adranari River Valley. The twilight sky and the dark clouds above, and the corpse moon. a more intimate connection than you've had in a while. And knowledge seems to flood your mind as you stare up at the moon. Almost as if, like, for a moment you feel like the moon is bearing down on you, like it would crush you as it takes up your vision. And in the obscuring of the visuals as you stare up at this moon, the smoke billowing out from the wound forms memories and thoughts. Athramenos, mother. And what Iliovani is able to give you of this connection between the Scaithfulum and Athramenos. She adds upon, essentially, Hadric's words. He became their overlord by finding their home and destroying it. This unleashed the strongest of the Scaithfulum to essentially, in a weird way, be free, become more individual. While still hive minds, they were more like distant stars to one another than a large collective system. And this has led to them ushering out in their own way. And Iliovania has a cursory understanding of what you're looking for. And you can see now a classical vision that you'd normally get in this of the Cirrus. You've seen the Cirrus before. You see that same figure. And you can see she has this cauldron in front of her of this silver, brightly glowing ichor. And she seems to reach into it and rip out of it chains that with her claws she severs. And she holds this small chain in her hand. And you see her take it, and you can see essentially her binding this chain to Scarlet. And Iliovani, you feel this mental presence. She says, "This is Athramenos, where these chains come from. These links are from Athramenos. They are what tethers souls and mind to reality. Athramenos is what gives memory and experience to this world. And it was born of the blossoming minds of mortals, just as the gods. And just as a well of creation was born of this, so was a well of nightmares. And such was born the Shadowfell as well. The Scaithfulum are what becomes of nightmares and fear and doubt when there is no master to watch over those things. And what this Cirrus is doing is taking this freedom and stealing power from Athramenos. And that seems to be the limits of what Elivania can discern for you with her limited vision. With knowledge she already had, most likely, as well.
Okay. With that information, Kieran will return to our chained god friend Ashk. Yeah, unceremoniously barge in, tap his staff on the cobblestone as if announcing himself, and goes, and goes.
And goes.
Ashk is a servant of Athromenos and the Mother, right? That was
was.
his home plane.
Yes.
So he'll go. So he goes, are you aware the Scathulum, known as the Cirrus, tethered, the one that tethered our companion Scarlet, steals the power of Athromenos?
Aware is not what I would say. I did not know until your friend showed up here. And I said it, I was truthful. If you recall, I said there's something reeks about you. And if this power that your Cirrus takes is what you think it is, she is messing with greater forces than one could handle.
And the ruler of Athromenos is this figure, the Mother, yes?
Yes.
Do you think she is aware of the Cirrus's theft?
Interesting question.
If she's aware, I'm surprised this creature is even able to do what she does. Unless she's found a way to weaken the Mother. But the Mother is also somewhat blind, deaf, and speechless in her ways. Her purpose is collection. To know all that have been perceived, and what they have perceived. Memories, our souls, a mother of memories. A creature of such magnitude could be quite blind to someone drinking a slow drip from her thoughts. But as I said to your companion, she is unforgiving if she is to become less blind.
Right, and you warned in your infinite generosity? No. In the out of the kindness of your heart, you warned that the Mother may deem our companion part of the threat to her and eradicate her as well, correct?
As I said, the gods are not as forgiving as you.
Kieran looks extremely cross at Ashk and goes, I don't know how forgiving I'd say I am at the moment. But is there a way to make the mother aware of the theft occurring to her plane? Is there a way to commune with her?
No mortal ever has. As far as I know. The place Athramenos is beyond. It's not meant for mortal eyes or ears or minds. It can unravel everything you perceive as reality. It can unravel the strongest of gods and their will to know all fates and all minds and soul.
I have no intention of going to Athramenos or learning from its infinite wisdom. I simply seek to stop the injustice amongst the planes. Is there any way you can think of in which I may speak with the mother? Kieran says very pointedly.
Not that I know of without me.
Of course. And how, oh great Ash, Kieran says with a very overdramatic, like almost curtsy, could you help me commune with her?
As you have already learned, I am of Athramenos. But not in this form. Not a tenth of me. No, all of me.
A shame. I thought maybe you might finally have a use after all. And Kieran turns to leave.
You'd hear him calling out from the little imprisonment he's in. You can even see that he's pushed his face against the bars. And he just shouts back, not expecting an answer. You will find a use for me before the end. Freeing me can bring more gifts than leaving me in the rabble. And he does sort of whisper the end. He kind of defeatedly stops calling for you. He just sort of, at the least you properly hear, your perception hears the whole thing. You will find a use for me before the end.
Okay, I'm done.
Cool.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, before you all meet with Oriel, is there anything else anyone would like to do?
I was just gonna say that we should all get together and get drunk before me and the Duke.
You do have like a spare night. You do have a spare night to get drunk together.
But that's not important. We could do that next session.
You guys just you miss your appointment with the Duke because you're all hungover.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say we go get drinks and then we go to see Felix.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot you wanted to do that.
But let's skip that for now.
Okay.
I have a quick thing. I would just send a note to Raphael at the Maximilian store through our little wormhole sock portal thing, and just ask him how he's doing and make sure that he's not overdoing his research, because last time we saw him, he was not looking too great. And I just want to make sure everything's fine there and let him know that the danger's gone.
Absolutely. And you would get a response from him, and it's very kindly and gentle, as the old Leonin is. Well, after I heard of the intrepid nature of the mercenaries I hired, I thought it best I keep my distance and seal away the sample unless needed. I do not intend to be any more responsible for plaguing my home, this city.
Yeah, and I leave it there.
Yep. The last day comes, and you are able to meet with Governor Clay. He comes to dinner with you all, serving your favorite foods, whatever you ask for, basically. Reminiscent of the last dinner before you all left for the Fields of Glass. What do y'all want to eat? Real quick.
Ooh.
I want udon noodles, stir-fried udon noodles. And it's only because I recently saw a picture of them and I really want them. Alex really wants them.
I know exactly what you're talking.
I had ramen last night. It was amazing.
Yeah, you get some udon noodles, Timber. There's some hearty chunks of beef in it.
I'd like a grilled cheese, please.
Is that self-grilled or?
Yeah.
So, Scarlett, you get a grilled cheese, but it's not crispy enough for you. So
Nope. So I grill it up myself.
Yeah.
100%. Wait, I stick it on the dagger first, and then I grill it that way.
Wiswick wants, I don't know, maybe just like a really well done, ice fished out big fish that's like just out of like the frozen lake. Like, they just melted the ice and threw some salt on there, and that's what he's having.
Oh, they'll find a way to get you something like that for sure.
Do they have everything?
Whatever's in season.
Almost anything you want.
Did I'll talk to you about this before. That roasted porcupine, where it's magically cooked, and you could just like pull. You prick out the quills, and it's like a little cube of meat that's like already roasted on there. It's delicious.
Shockingly, they make that for you.
Wow.
Kieran?
Kieran wants glass Titan armor, crunch, and some stuffed mushrooms.
Yes, you get. I imagine you're encumbered eating stuffed mushrooms with the glass Titan armor on that I will give you before next session. And Oriel will be there, and it looks like he just has like a broth. Like he's not even really eating much. He looks all the aging that's happened to him, including the magical aging and the normal aging. He looks like it bears down on him. So, Lithonius has agreed to meet with you tomorrow and hear
the words of heroes. What is your plan? What do you want from the leaders of this world? What can they do?
Well, what can any of us do?
We can use
Research.
funding, manpower. I mean,
What
I'm
we
sure
need
Manpower.
most.
Manpower must be the labor of soldier, and people must be directed. This is what Lithonius will want to hear.
Does he have spies?
This is
Or
what the Senate will want to hear too. Spies. Yes.
Where? Whereabouts? All throughout?
Mostly in the Quintarchy.
What we need the most, Kieran says, pushing away his plate, glass titan armor crunch, is an end to this pathetic, distracting war. And I know you are only half of that here. It will take much to convince the Quintarchy to lay down their arms. But an armistice is what we need most. Unless the Pallid King or the Harbinger are the ones pulling the string there, we will never be able to stop them without our combined might.
My fear is there is no quick end to this war without blood. Not because Lithonius is sympathetic to ending the war. The man has spent a lifetime of war. He lost his only child to war. But Kinsley is iron. He is iron. We stop. He won't. He's already doing it. These refugees. Even if we find a way to... And you see Oriel is kind of staring off as he says this. Even if we find a way through to Heinrich. It won't stop Kinsley. Me saying Henry is not a mistake on my part. It sounds like it. But Lithonius is a start.
Well, besides an armistice between the human kingdoms and the Gwen, what we really need is information. We need the best researchers, the best wizards and arcane scholars our realm can muster to rediscover the lost legends and lores.
Well, that seems like a lot. I mean, yeah, but I feel like
Of course
we
it's
should-
a lot.
I'm just saying, instead of just asking him to answer a question, we should try.
Wh-
While we have the king's ear, we should try and maybe
Duke,
thank you, secure a position of power, maybe as advisors or something like that. If we can
We are
Somehow
no advisors to a king
We maybe can get a writ,
or duke.
A duke.
but that's about it, I'd say.
Well, all of the kings of the Quintaki are really dukes, but it's a complicated system.
Why can't we advise? I mean, advisors are people who are good at what they
Lithon-
do, right?
Lithonius will seek your advice. If he is amenable to what you say, which I believe he will be. He will. This is why I say, be ready to tell him what to do. I know that you're not experienced politicians or governors or lords or ladies or dukes yourselves, but
Well,
you know so much about greater things.
I mean,
Focus
we've
on the threat
traveled-
to his people.
sorry.
Focus on the threat to his people and tell him how to protect them.
So, if we want information, where is the biggest source of information that we can gather is what we need to first answer. If it's Caer Dolan, then we probably need to win the war before we can... I mean, maybe we can get over there, but... There's a lot of... We might need to help the Duke before he helps us. I don't know what his order of... What do you think?
We're done helping dukes or kings or whoever. Where we can help, we will, but we have our own extremely pressing matters to get to. I think when I meant information, I meant what is readily available and what research they can do. Realistically, the most the Duke can do to us within his power is that, and allowing a safe passage throughout the realm. And preparing for the inevitable incursion, both the Pallid One and the Harbinger.
He can do that. To the best of his abilities in the nation of Endurus. There are means to ending the war, but few are, as I said, bloodless, to preserve strength for what you're expecting to come. The biggest threat to your plan is General Kinsley. There is no man on this earth weakening the realm more.
Governor, where's Caliph in all this? We haven't seen him.
We have moved him to the Duke's fortress. Such a son of Endurus must be protected. As I said, the Duke lost his only heir. The Viscounts of this land will fight for that throne. That is not your problem. The Duke is old. He's wise. and a good man, but old, and more tired every day. But that is my concern. Yours is rallying his support. We will each do what we need to protect these people, right?
If maybe we can set up some sort of arrangement where if we find people in need or are desperate, we can use this kingdom as sort of a place where we can, bring refugees. I know we've been helping with the refugee problem, and I know it's pretty bad, but I can't think of anywhere safer than with Governor Oriel Clay in the government.
My plan is to seek this sort of protection from the Empire. You will be pivotal in that. Because we'll convince the Duke tomorrow. And after we convince the Empire, you'll have half the continent on your side. And with enough luck, we can get the rest.
We can share what we know about the good people we've seen on our travels, both within and out of your borders. Maybe we can make some alliances that'll prove to help.
I trust Lithonius, and I trust the Senate. I don't think it would be difficult to earn their trust. But they need action. Actionable things. Which you've given here. Share what you can. And what you need for your own endeavors.
Finally
Whatever.
getting a paycheck?
I do recall giving each of you 4,000 gold pieces about a month ago. But that's
I-
beside the point.
I'm poor again, Mr. Clay. I need more. Books don't pay for themselves.
I understand. Master never rock. If you need me tonight, I'll be in the chapel. But ready yourselves. Plan. Speak with one another. Come to understand what you need to do next. And in that, you will know what you need from us. But for now, sup, enjoy these meals, drink, rest. Tomorrow, I will meet you. And we will go speak with Lithonius. Excuse me. You see, he'll stand and take his bowl of broth and leaves the room. And that's where we're going to end tonight.
Ooh.
And we'll pick up next week. Any conversation you want to have in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then
We'll
the
get
meeting
right
with
to
the
the
Duke.
nitty gritty.
Yes. But before we say our goodbyes, Shannon.
Yep.
There's one last giveaway we need to do.
Yeah, sure is.
Yish? Yish?
Yeesh, yeesh.
While you're doing that, I'm going to talk a little bit about upcoming programming.
Hashtag
Yes?
100.
The word?
Yes, The word. Hashtag 100.
All right, everybody. Put
Hold on.
hashtag 100, HUNDRED.
Yes.
Hashtag
How do you
100.
spell it?
I'll put
Get
it
those
in chat.
in the chat. I think most people think of 100. That's how it
Yes.
goes.
Hashtag 100. Put that in the chat for the Arcane Spectacles at Dice Vault.
Yes, very excited for that.
Nope,
Um,
not a Dice Vault. Spell Tracker.
Yes, it's not that. While you're getting those into the chat, I'll tell you a little bit about our upcoming programming. So, join us again next week for Monday night Advantage in Paradise as our heroes meet with the Duke and figure out where they're going next. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday here at Paradise Productions. Tuesdays, starting tomorrow, we have a new show with our very own Alex and Mike
It
called...
starts tomorrow?
Mhm.
Doing it's just tomorrow.
Nice.
It's called Another Play in Paradise.
Aw.
Now, do one or both of you want to tell us a little bit about what that is?
Leave it to the veteran.
Just a quick little
What?
sneak.
Me?
Yeah.
Am I the veteran? Yeah, it's just gonna be Mike and I playing some games. Just browsing, playing some cooperative games, bantering, and having a good old time. Really nothing unique at all. Just us having a good time.
Wow,
What are you
Alex.
playing? What
Wow.
are you playing?
To help everybody up about that, Alex and I have been good friends for the longest time. We play games all the time, and so I wanted to share that with you guys as well. Looking super forward to it. We're starting with Divinity Original Sin 2 as our first game tomorrow, if you're interested in catching that. It's like Sean said, it's going to be every Tuesday. We're going to be doing 7 to 10 as well, similar to this stream here. And yeah, just looking forward to getting to play in front of you guys, and hopefully you can get some entertainment out of it.
Yeah, my sales pitch was a little bit better, but
Some
I
veteran
know.
you
Yeah,
are.
I want to watch Alex's show.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to watch the show that's just absolutely not unique.
yeah.
God.
It's going to be very akin to a Relaxing in Paradise, the gaming half of it at least, but with our very lovely Mike and Alex. You might be able to ask them some questions, chat with them, hang out, watch some cool RPGs and other cooperative games, and just have a good time. So join us tomorrow night for the very first Another Play in Paradise at 7 p.m., like they said, to 10 p.m. It should be a good time. And then you can stop on by on Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hang out with me over in Relaxing in Paradise, where I paint minis, prep for the session, build terrain, draw maps, do a whole bunch of stuff.
And
Sometimes
play
I do
Valheim
some.
with us.
Sometimes I do some
Yes.
lore design and game design, and then I always end up in Valheim with all of them at by the end
And
of the night.
sometimes you don't do any of it and just play Valheim.
That's what it's
A few times
Like
I have
once.
done none of it.
and by play Valheim, he plays on the same server and builds his own little tower.
Yes. Everyone else is doing things collectively, and I'm just talking to them while being hundreds of miles away from them in the world. No, it is a lot of fun. A bunch of us in Paradise and some folks not from Paradise but adjacent all have a private server in Valheim, and it's some fun. So come join us, see us build some stuff, see me paint minis, all that fun shenanigans. And then, of course, Sunday is the Powerful Hour.
The
The-
power hour. God
Powerful
damn
hour?
it.
The
No.
Powerful Hour.
I didn't know we were doing that.
No,
that
no.
route.
No,
We're
it's
not
just-
doing that. We're not doing
Ooh.
that.
Shannon,
It's
I
the-
don't think you realize how close what Alex and I were naming our show. Why don't you take a
Yeah.
wild guess?
Yep. We were
Uh,
gonna do it.
Too many power hours.
Gonna name it the powerful hour. Is that what you were gonna do?
No, Sean put a hard veto to it though. What,
Oh,
what
he-
else do you despise?
Let's
Yeah.
tell her
what else,
after.
What other name?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Make
You were gonna
sense
name it the
of the
milk
internet
people?
level.
You were gonna name it? Oh my god, you're the worst.
Shannon, I vetoed it.
Appreciate
Sundays
that.
is
Jesus
the Sean and
Christ.
Shannon Power Hour, where we recap the previous episode and speculate on future episodes. And every now and then, I make Shannon play video games.
I'm not very good at them.
Because it would have been great. The Paradise Productions presents the Milk People.
A
We
Paradise
are-
production
No.
known as The Milk People.
Jesus.
We are the
Oh my
milk
god,
people.
no. Oh my god, no.
All right, folks, get those hundreds, hashtag hundreds in chat while I share a very short story of what the fuck milk people means. When
Oh,
Shannon,
have you not
Shannon,
told the story? I'm
we
sorry.
have, but Shannon, Mike, and Alex are in our home campaign where Aradun was born. And when I first asked them to name their party, they couldn't come up with anything to save their lives. So at one point, Alex suggested the Milkmen because they deliver on results. And then Alex was, and then Alex was like, wait, we need to be. Who said?
I think it was
I
me.
said, no, I said milkman because we always deliver our results.
Yeah.
And
And
Shannon
then
was
it was
like,
like,
excuse me, like pointing to
"Excuse
herself being the only female in the group. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, you're right. I'm so sorry. The milk people.
And I still hate it.
Yeah.
We're called the
Oh.
Forsaken. That's a cooler name.
Which I think was also Mike's idea. Um,
Yeah, actually was.
but anyway, folks,
I'm gonna roll
Get
this
those-
damn giveaway.
get those hashtag hundreds in there. I'm going to give a countdown now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey!
Shab Hunter, congratulations.
Excellent.
You have. You will be the recipient
Yay.
of a hardwood spell tracker from our good friends and our premier partners at Arcane Spectacles. Folks, thank you so much for sticking around with us all the way to 11 for our 100th episode, 2-year anniversary, and rebranding launch. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, please, please come for future programming and hang out with us. Show your support for the channel. Show your support for our partners. And enjoy your time. Come adventure with us, relax with us, and I don't remember the third thing that we came up with. Join us in paradise.
That was great.
Bye.
love you all.
We love you.
Bye. Good night.
And